Okay, as you get more HP minis, you're going to need a way to connect them to your network. Maybe you started out with just that one connection, that was fine, but now you've got 4 or 5 of them. You're trying to do maybe a cluster. I don't know, maybe you're just setting up various servers and you don't have enough ports left on your current router. And you're thinking about, hey, maybe I need to get a switch so that I can expand and have more ports for my connection. Well, you could go out and, buy a managed or unmanaged switch. But I've got a better idea, and that is to take an old router, and this particular one is the Netgear R6220. I've got at least, I think this is my fourth one. I use it throughout my network. I even have it as the main router coming in, as far as connecting to the outside world. It does my VLANs, does obviously Wi-Fi. It only goes up to 802.11 AC, but I've got streaming 4K. I have no problem with that. I want to show how you can take this and turn it into an inexpensive managed 5-port switch that you can then connect in with your sort of daisy chain off of your main router, and that way you've got more ports that you can connect your units to. You're going to replace the firmware that's in here. Replacing firmware in routers was actually what kind of got me interested in sort of hand-me-down tech and reusing old stuff. Back when, this was way before I ever looked at HP minis and so forth. Back then there were different ones. There was WRT, Gargoyle. Was there one called Tomato? What I settled on is what's known as OpenWrt, which a lot of folks use. So I wanted to show kind of cradle to grave how to install on the unit, what to look for. Not all used routers out there, can be used with it, and you have to do your research. I was just on eBay. This one, I got this one real cheap, but I think you could probably get it for around $15, and that's shipped. You may even have a friend that's got an old one. They sold, millions of these. I'm going to be using a G3 Mini. It's going to be the one that's going to be connecting to the router. It's going to do the upload of the new firmware. It's also going to allow me to do all the configuration on it. So here we're over on our G3. This is, connected up to the internet, so I can go on and pull down what I need to as far as the firmware. So what we want to do is we want to type in OpenWrt and firmware selector. When we go here, we can now do a search for our particular unit that we're interested in. So in my particular case, it's the R6220, and it's there. And right now, I think this is the latest version, the 25.12.2. And you've got a couple different versions here. And what we're going to want to do is it says use a factory image to flash a router with OpenWrt for the first time. So this is going to get uploaded using the normal Netgear web interface. And then that kind of sets the level, and then I can come and do the sys upgrade. I believe, though, actually, I think the factory might already have that in there, and it may be enough. So, but we'll pull down both. Now, in order to be able to talk to our router and upload the firmware and do all the configuration, we're going to need to change our IP settings on our computer. So what we want to do is come down here to where you see the little network icon, go to network and internet settings. Then from here, you want to go to advanced network settings. And it's a good idea to, if the Wi-Fi 6 or the Wi-Fi or the Bluetooth are enabled, go and disable them, right? Which I've done here. Leave your Ethernet enabled. We want to go down to more adapter options, go into IP4 properties. We want to give it a static IP. So I like to go with 100. And put the gateway as 1.1, and then fill in the DNS also as so. Okay. You're going to need good old paper clip, because what we're going to be doing on the bottom here, and every unit's a little different. Actually, this is it on the bottom. No, it's right here. Reset. So pretty much all the routers have some place. Sometimes it's here, but it'll be a reset button. But what we want to do is we want to plug in first. And while it's plugged in, we're going to hit the reset button, hold it down for, a good, I'd probably be more on the maybe 45-second, just to clean out anything that might be in the unit as far as settings. Okay, I've got it plugged in. And I'm going to make sure the power's on. And I'm going to hold down the reset. You'll kind of see a change as it's going along, and that kind of is an indicator that, okay, maybe it is cleaning itself. We should be ready now. I'm just going to take an Ethernet cable. I'm going to plug it in any of these four. I would stay away from the WAN for right now, but any of these 4 ports. So at this point, you can unplug from your network and plug into your router. Okay, let's try 192. There we go. That's what we wanted. You're not connected. No, I'm just going to do it myself. Sure. All right. I believe the username should be admin and then password. What we want to do is go down to advanced, administration, firmware update. Okay. We're going to go to our downloads. We're going to get the one that's the factory. Open. And upload. Okay, that's fine. It says it's older. Yes. And now we kind of wait. We just let it go through. Sometimes it says 3 minutes, but that's coming from Netgear. And you'll know because eventually when everything comes back, you'll have a totally different looking interface. So we'll let this run. So this is what I got at this point. And I think that's because it thinks that it's done, but it's trying to run the old web interface. We can go in 192.168.1.1. We'll do login. You don't give a password because the first time you log in, there is no password. This will come up and ask if you want to do, check online for firmware upgrades. We'll just say no, disable checking, save and apply. We haven't set a password. I guess we could go ahead and do that. We'll log back in. Okay, one of the first things we want to do is we want to actually try to get this router up on your network. So we'll go to interfaces. We won't need the WAN and the WAN 6, so we can delete those two. And throughout OpenWrt, pretty much everything you do, you're going to have to do a save and apply. And then that way, if you mess up, you can always just say revert. So we'll go ahead and save and apply. And what's kind of neat with OpenWrt is that if it detects that something is not working, it will actually revert. It can take anywhere from, probably 2 to 3 minutes for it to happen, but at least that way you don't really brick your unit. Now, if you ever get in a situation where you've tried everything, you still can't connect to the router, just hold down, do that reset for about 30 seconds. It will reset everything back to the 192.168.1.1, and all your OpenWrt settings will be gone, and you can start out fresh. So let's go into Edit, and let's do a couple things here. Let's go to DHCP server. We'll disable this, turn this off. Disable, because DHCP it should be handled by your main router and not by this particular one. And we'll go to General, and we'll delete this, and we'll put in our and you've got to do the /24 gateway. It won't let you do the 1.1, so what you're going to have to do initially is choose the same one, 1.88. And then, but what you can do is pop over here and put in the DNS that's on your network, which for a lot of folks is 1.1. So when we say save and apply. Now this is a little weird because of the fact that you're switching the IP address and it's counting down. Normally this is pretty fast, but it's thinking there may be an issue. So what we need to do is pop up here, type in 88. That will connect us, and you'll notice that it will continue the configuration changes and finally say changes applied. So now we can log in. We'll go back to interfaces, go into edit, and now it's in red, and now it wants to actually change. So now we can change it to the 1. And what we can do in the meantime also is plug in to the router a network cable coming from, basically whatever you unplugged from your computer, take that and plug it into the router. So you're going to have your, sort of main network. It's going to connect into your router, this new router, and then also off this new router is a connector from it to your computer. In my case, it's the G3. So I'm going to go ahead and move over our main network cable. Okay, I plugged it in. I'm going to do save and apply, and we should be able to go to Google, and now we're on the internet. Our new router is up and working, and it's connected to our network, and we can, connect other computers to it. Let's go in and configure it so that it can use all 5 ports, including that yellow WAN port. We'll go back to interfaces. We're going to click over under devices. You're going to see this thing called BRLAN. Hit configure. You got your bridge ports. Click the little down arrow here. And we've got this Ethernet adapter WAN. So we want to add that guy in. Save and apply. Now, if we go back to overview, so you've got your 5 ports there. I'm going to unplug the cable that's connecting to the rest of the network and plug it into the yellow WAN port. And it's up and running. And just as a test, I can come over here, I can do a search, and I'm still connected to the internet. And now I've got 5 ports that I can play with. A lot of times I like to use the WAN port as the one that I use to connect to the rest of the network. But what if you wanted to have all 5 ports available for your machines, or need where, hey, I need to put two machines over in some far room and I don't want to string network cable, but I really need a router so that I can have these two connected without having to do Wi-Fi with them. Maybe they don't have a Wi-Fi card, etc., etc. So let me show you what you can do where you can have your router do Wi-Fi back to your main router and still have it act and serve up, 5 ports. So what we want to do here is we're going to install some software. And what's kind of nifty with OpenWrt is that it has basically a software library that you can use to extend functionality. So you go to software, you want to do update lists, and that basically goes out and says, hey, give me all the list of software that's available. And then we're going to filter and type in relay D. And that should bring up 2 packages, Relay D and this Lucy Proto Relay. And we want to install both of them. And to have their functionality available, we want to do a reboot of the server. So we go to System, Reboot, Perform Reboot. And this takes, probably about a minute, minute and a half, and then it will go back to the login screen for OpenWrt. First thing we want to do is we want to connect our wireless to our other router. So we want to pick the fastest of the 2, which is the 11AC. So we're going to do a scan. And it's going to bring up all the 5 gigahertz ones that are, shown in the neighborhood, etc. I have previously set up one called LabLAN. So I'm going to join that one. I'm going to put in my password that was set up for, connecting to it. You want to, for the firewall, just choose LAN. The name of the new network, we'll keep it WLAN or WWAN. And we'll go ahead and say save. And save and apply. And if all goes well, yep, we have a connection. Now we're going to go back to interfaces again. And now we need to connect the LAN with the WAN. Basically, these are the ports, and this is the Wi-Fi connection. So we're going to say add new interface. And I'm just going to call it Wi-Fi bridge. And then for protocol, relay bridge. Now, if you go to choose this and it's not there, it's probably because you didn't do the reboot after you installed it. So say create interface. It wants a local IP, so I'm going to give it one greater than the other one. So I'm going to do 89. And now this is important. You've got to specify the 2 things that you're bringing together. So we're going to LAN and WAN. And let's see, firewall settings, you can just pick the LAN WAN and do save. And save and apply. Now we'll do one more reboot. And what I'm going to do as I'm rebooting, I'm going to disconnect the network cable that's connecting my router to the rest of the network. And it should be that it will do all its work just by using the Wi-Fi. Okay, we'll boot back in, or I should say log back in. Let's go over to interfaces, and it looks good. I'm seeing some traffic here. We are connected, and I do not have the cable going from my router to the rest of the network. This is purely off of Wi-Fi, and I can still do my searches. Let's see what it does in terms of speed. Not too bad. I mean, my normal, if I was actually connected, with hardline, it would be more in the gigabit range. If you change your mind, let's say it just gets to be, it's just too slow, or it's just clogging up your Wi-Fi, let me show you how to undo it. So if we come over here, we can simply just delete this bridge and just plug back in our, our normal cable. So let's try that. I'm going to delete and apply. We may have to reboot. I'm also going to delete this. Okay, at this point we shouldn't have any sort of connection. If I go to, Google's not connecting, but I'm going to plug back in the cable from the network, and now I've got my speed back. And I bet if I ran a speed test, yes, okay, now we're back to our normal high-speed fiber connection.